There is a weed so aggressive, governments spend millions trying to kill it. Inside its root is 50 times more of the most studied anti-aging compound on Earth than a glass of red wine. The supplement industry extracts it and sells it back to you for $40 a bottle. That weed is one of 10 plants that target the 5 forces of cellular aging confirmed by 2 Nobel Prizes. By the end of this video, you will know all 10 and how to grow them in one bucket. Right now, inside your body, there are cells that have stopped dividing but refuse to die. They sit there leaking inflammatory signals that poison every healthy cell around them. As you age, they pile up. By the time you reach 60, they are clogging your tissues like rust in old pipes. Scientists call them senescent cells, essentially zombie cells, that can trigger localized inflammation. We also experience natural cellular aging as our telomeres, the protective caps on our chromosomes, shorten over time, and as our internal cellular recycling system, autophagy, slows down. While the supplement market sells expensive synthetic versions of these extracted compounds, we can support our bodies naturally through diet. When that crew stops showing up, the trash piles up. That is exactly what happens inside your cells as you age. In 2016, Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize for discovering how this system works at the molecular level. He called it autophagy. Your mitochondria are failing too. These are the tiny power plants inside every cell that produce the energy your body runs on. As you age, the old ones stop working and the system that removes them slows down. Energy production drops. Your muscles weaken, your organs lose power 1% at a time. And then there is sugar. Every time you eat sugar or refined carbohydrates, some of those glucose molecules permanently bond to proteins inside your cells. They create stiff cross-links that cannot be reversed. Your skin turns dull. Your joints stiffen. You are being caramelized from the inside out. 5 forces, zombie cells, shrinking telomeres, a broken recycling system, dying power plants, sugar damage, every one of them is running inside you right now. Walk into any health store in America today and you will see an entire wall of supplements claiming to fight these forces. Fisetin capsules, resveratrol pills, telomerase activators, autophagy boosters, each one costs between $40 and $200 a month. But here is what the companies selling those bottles hope you never realize. Every single compound on that shelf was first found inside a living plant. They extracted it, they concentrated it, they packaged it with a label and a barcode, and they priced the average person out of the solution. The source plants still grow in backyards and roadsides and ditches across the world. They cost pennies. They grow themselves back every season, and nobody selling you a bottle has any reason to mention that. The first plant in this system is something you have almost certainly eaten before, but you ate it wrong. You bought it fully grown at the grocery store, you steamed it on a dinner plate, and you were getting some benefit, a little. But the compound that activates over 200 protective genes in your body is concentrated almost entirely in the sprout. The tiny sprout that is 3 to 5 days old contains up to 100 times more of this compound than the fully grown vegetable sitting in your refrigerator right now. The compound is called sulforaphane. It is the most powerful known natural activator of your body's master defense switch. It also activates autophagy. It is the exact recycling system that Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize for discovering. The plant is broccoli and the form that matters is the sprout. Grow them in a mason jar on your kitchen counter. Soak a tablespoon of broccoli seeds overnight, then drain them. Rinse them twice a day. In 3 to 5 days, you will have a full jar of fresh sprouts ready to eat. No soil, no sunlight, no garden required. Eat them raw or blend them into a smoothie. Keep 3 jars in rotation and you will never run out. Broccoli sprouts activate your body's recycling system. But there is a fruit you have almost certainly eaten this month, and the part you throw away contains the most powerful compound ever tested for destroying zombie cells. When the Mayo Clinic tested 10 different flavonoids head-to-head, One destroyed zombie cells more effectively than all the others. That compound is called Fisetin, and the richest natural source of Fisetin on Earth is not some exotic berry from a distant jungle. It is the strawberry. Mice given Fisetin late in life lived roughly 10% longer and showed fewer age-related problems than the control group. That result did not come from a supplement label. It came from one of the most respected medical institutions on the planet. And the best natural source of that compound is sitting in any produce aisle right now for a few dollars a basket. But here is what nobody mentions. The leaf of the strawberry plant also contains bioactive flavonoids. For centuries across Europe, families brewed strawberry leaf tea as a daily tonic. Grandmothers in rural England and France kept dried strawberry leaves in their kitchens the way most people today keep chamomile. That tradition faded when companies figured out how to isolate Fisetin and sell it in capsule form for $40 to $60 a bottle. The whole plant grows in a hanging basket on your porch. Alpine and ever-bearing varieties thrive in containers with almost no effort. Full sun, basic watering, they produce fruit continuously through the growing season and survive winter with simple mulching. Eat the berries fresh every day. Dry the leaves for tea. Freeze the extras for winter. One hanging basket replaces a supplement bottle that costs more per month than your water bill. Strawberry gives your body the compound that eliminates zombie cells. But what about the countdown clock on your chromosomes? There is a leaf brewed across East Asia for over 1,000 years that protects the very ends of your telomeres from unraveling. In Okinawa, Japan, one of the longest-lived populations on Earth, grandmothers brew this leaf every single morning before the sun rises. In the mountains of Fujian province in China, farmers have cultivated it along misty hillsides for over 1,000 years. Across Korea, it appears in Buddhist temple ceremonies that date back centuries. The people who live the longest on this planet drink it every day of their lives. The rest of the world buys the active compound in capsule form and pays 10 times the price. The plant is Camellia sinensis. You know it as green tea. The compound that matters is called EGCG. It supports telomere length and activates the very enzyme that the Nobel Prize in 2009 was awarded for. EGCG also triggers autophagy through a completely different route than sulforaphane. That means green tea and broccoli sprouts activate the same recycling system by opening two separate doors. Two plants, two keys, same lock. Brew loose leaf tea, not bagged. Loose leaf delivers significantly more active compound per cup. 2 to 3 cups a day matches the intake of the populations that outlive everyone else on Earth. For maximum benefit with less caffeine, cold brew the leaves overnight in your refrigerator. Camellia sinensis grows beautifully in a container. It prefers acidic soil, consistent moisture, and partial shade. It handles a wide range of climates, including surprisingly cold winters. Harvest the youngest leaves at the tip of each branch and dry them yourself. One tea plant in a pot produces enough for daily cups and can live for decades. Green tea shields your telomeres, but imagine a plant that goes further. One that actually reactivates the enzyme that rebuilds them. A plant so aggressive it is banned in parts of Europe. And the compound inside it makes every resveratrol supplement on the shelf look like a rounding error. This is the plant that governments spend millions trying to eradicate. In the United Kingdom alone, it can knock 10% off a property value overnight. Across Europe, it is classified as one of the most dangerous invasive species on the continent. Homeowners in London and Amsterdam panic when they see it cracking through concrete driveways and foundation walls. Entire removal companies exist solely to tear it out of the ground. And the supplement industry quietly extracts the most expensive anti-aging compound in the world from its roots. The plant is Japanese knotweed. Its root contains 50 to 100 times more resveratrol than a glass of red wine. Most resveratrol supplements already on the market are derived from this plant because no other natural source comes close. The active form is trans resveratrol, the most bioavailable version of the compound. Resveratrol activates a longevity protein called SIRT1. This is the same switch your body flips during fasting and caloric restriction. Japanese knotweed gives you the fasting benefit without the fast. In Japan, families have eaten the young spring shoots for generations. They harvest them when they are under 8 inches tall and prepare them the way you would prepare asparagus, steamed, sautéed, or pickled in rice vinegar. The root can be dried and brewed as tea. One critical rule: never plant this in open ground, ever. Grow it in a large, sealed container only. This plant will spread through concrete if you give it the chance. In a pot, that aggression works in your favor. You get a virtually indestructible source of resveratrol that requires zero help from you. The difficulty is not growing it, the difficulty is stopping it from taking over everything else. Japanese knotweed activates the same longevity switch as fasting. But there is a golden root used across India and China for thousands of years that does something none of these other plants can do. It turns on the enzyme that actually rebuilds your telomeres. And a company figured out how to patent that compound and charge more than $100 a month for it. This is the one plant on the list you have probably already heard of: turmeric. It has been in health food stores and golden lattes across Los Angeles and New York for years now. But what most people do not realize is that the way they consume it delivers almost none of the active compound to their cells. The compound is curcumin. It selectively targets zombie cells and pushes them toward destruction. It also suppresses the master switch for chronic inflammation in your body. And chronic inflammation accelerates every single one of the 5 aging forces at the same time. More zombie cells, shorter telomeres, slower recycling, weaker mitochondria, faster sugar damage. Curcumin dials down the environment that makes everything worse simultaneously. Here is what grandmothers across India have always understood: preparation is everything. Curcumin on its own passes through your digestive system almost untouched. Combine it with black pepper and a fat like coconut oil, and absorption jumps by up to 2,000%. This is not a recent discovery. This is how kitchens from Kerala to Kashmir have prepared turmeric for thousands of years. The bioavailability problem was solved long before science had a name for it. Grow turmeric from a rhizome, not from seed. Plant it in a large container in spring. It needs warmth, moisture, and partial shade. Harvest in fall when the leaves turn yellow. Store rhizomes over winter and replant next spring. One rhizome produces a full harvest in a single season. Turmeric clears zombie cells and calms the inflammation behind all 5 forces. But what about your mitochondria? There is a fruit so ancient it appears in Greek mythology, and a clinical trial proved its compound renews mitochondria in living humans, not in mice, in actual people. In Greek myth, Persephone ate pomegranate seeds in the underworld, and it bound her to a cycle of death and renewal forever. That story is 4,000 years old. The biology behind it turns out to be almost literal. When you eat pomegranate, your gut bacteria convert compounds in the fruit into a molecule called urolithin A. This molecule triggers a process that clears out old damaged mitochondria and replaces them with fresh ones. In a clinical trial published in 2019, daily intake of urolithin A improved markers of mitochondrial health in elderly adults. A follow-up study found that middle-aged adults who took it daily gained 12% more muscle strength after just 4 months. This was the first compound ever clinically shown to improve muscle function by renewing mitochondria in living people. A Swiss biotech company called Amazentis isolated the molecule and patented it under the brand name MitoPure. Nestle Health Science bought the global distribution rights. 1 month of capsules costs between $40 and $70. The precursor compound comes from a fruit tree you can grow on your patio for the cost of a sapling. Dwarf pomegranate varieties thrive in large containers. They prefer full sun, and they are drought tolerant once established. They are self-pollinating, so you only need one tree. Bring the plant indoors during cold winters. It begins fruiting within 2 to 3 years. Eat the fresh arils daily or juice them. Consistency matters here because your gut bacteria need regular feeding to build up the population that handles the conversion. Feed them the raw material and they do the rest. Pomegranate renews your mitochondria from the inside. But there is one more plant connected to the other Nobel Prize. It is a root used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years. Scientists extracted a single compound from it that reactivates the enzyme your body largely stops producing after childhood. One company patented that compound and now charges over $100 a month. In the mountains of northern China, this root has been medicine for over 2,000 years. Traditional practitioners call it Huang Qi. They simmer it in clay pots with whole chicken, ginger, and jujube dates. They give it to the elderly to restore what time has quietly taken away. When scientists tested the root, they found a compound called cycloastragenol that activates telomerase. That enzyme was at the center of the 2009 Nobel Prize. It is the enzyme that rebuilds the protective caps on your chromosomes. A supplement company extracted the compound, branded it TA65, and started selling it in 2008. 1 year of use was shown to increase telomerase activity in immune cells and lower inflammatory markers in the people who took it. The supplement runs over $100 per month. The source plant is Astragalus membranaceus. It grows in a deep pot in your garden for the cost of a seed packet. Start from a seed or a root cutting. Give it a deep container because the root grows straight down. Place it in full sun to partial shade. It is cold hardy. It is a perennial that returns every single year without replanting. Harvest roots after 3 to 4 years while leaving the crown intact so the plant keeps producing. Slice the dried root thin and simmer in water for 30 minutes. Add it to bone broth. Add it to winter soups. This is the same preparation Chinese herbalists have passed down for 2,000 years. Astragalus rebuilds the caps on your chromosomes, but there is another force that none of these plants have fully addressed yet. Sugar. Every time you eat it, glucose permanently bonds to proteins inside your cells and stiffens them like cement. There is one flower, bright red and brewed across 3 continents, that fights this reaction harder than any plant ever tested. Before we reach that flower, there's a quiet protector that deserves your attention. When you hear about the Mediterranean diet, you think of olive oil. Olive oil gets the headlines and the shelf space, but the leaf of the olive tree contains far higher concentrations of the compound that actually matters. And almost nobody outside of traditional villages along the coasts of Crete and southern Italy pays any attention to it. The compound is called oleuropein. In cell studies, it activates autophagy, delays the onset of cellular aging, and extends cell lifespan by approximately 15%. It also supports the same sirtuine longevity protein that resveratrol targets, and it protects mitochondrial function in aging muscle tissue. Walk through a hillside village above the Amalfi Coast, and you can still find elderly women who steep olive leaves into tea every afternoon. They have done it their entire lives. They do not know the word oleuropein. They just know the tea keeps them going. Traditional Mediterranean families did not only cook with olive oil, they brewed the leaves as well. That practice faded when oil became the commercial product, and the most powerful part of the tree was left on the branch. Dwarf olive varieties grow well in large containers, and they do best in full sun. They are drought tolerant and slow to establish, but nearly impossible to kill once rooted. You can harvest leaves year-round without harming the tree. Dry the leaves and brew them as a daily tea. One small tree in a pot gives you a steady supply of one of the most studied longevity compounds in Mediterranean tradition. The tree will outlive you. Now to that red flower. In Mexico City, street vendors sell it ice cold as agua de Jamaica. In Cairo, it is carcadi poured from brass pots. Across West Africa, from Senegal to Nigeria, it is bissap. In Trinidad and Jamaica, they call it sorrel and serve it at Christmas. Same plant everywhere, Hibiscus sabdarifa. Hundreds of millions of people across the tropics brew it as daily tea. It is one of the most consumed herbal beverages on the planet, and almost nobody in the Western longevity world talks about it. Those deep red anthocyanins that give hibiscus its color are among the most powerful plant-based glycation fighters ever studied. They intercept the reactive molecules that form when sugar bonds to protein inside your cells. They trap those molecules before they can create the permanent crosslinks that stiffen tissue, damage organs, and accelerate aging from the inside out. Brew the dried calluses as iced tea or hot tea. The deeper the red, the more active compound in your cup. Daily consumption is the tradition across every culture that drinks it. This is not something you cycle on and off. This is a daily tea that civilizations across 3 continents have relied on for centuries. Grow roselle from seed in a large pot, full sun. It is a warm season annual in temperate climates and a perennial in tropical zones. Harvest the calaces after the flowers drop. Dry them and store in your pantry for year-round brewing. The seeds cost next to nothing, and one plant produces enough for months of tea. Hibiscus fights the sugar damage that stiffens your cells from the inside. But there is one final mechanism none of the other 9 plants fully cover: a compound that activates the Nobel Prize-winning recycling pathway through a completely different door than broccoli sprouts. Centenarians have unusually high levels of it in their blood, and you can sprout its richest source on your kitchen counter in 3 days. The compound is called spermidine. It was named decades ago for the tissue where it was first discovered, and the name has unfortunately kept most people from ever paying attention. That is a mistake. In studies across multiple species, spermidine extended lifespan. In large human studies, higher dietary intake was consistently linked with lower overall mortality. And here's the detail that stops researchers in their tracks. Centenarians, people who live past 100, maintain blood levels of spermidine that look remarkably similar to people decades younger than them. Their levels simply do not decline the way they do in normal aging. Something about this compound appears to keep the cellular maintenance system running long after it usually shuts down. Spermidine works by activating autophagy, the same recycling system that broccoli sprouts trigger, but through a completely different biochemical route. Consuming both means you are firing up your body's cleanup system through 2 separate pathways at the same time. 2 keys and 2 different locks opening the same door. The single richest dietary source of spermidine is wheat germ. Buy a bag for a few dollars at any grocery store and sprinkle it on food every day. But for even more benefit, sprout wheat berries or oat groats at home. The sprouting process concentrates the compound. Soak the grains overnight. Rinse twice a day. Harvest at 3 to 5 days. This is the exact same mason jar method you already use for broccoli sprouts. No soil, no garden, no outdoor space needed, just a jar on your counter next to the broccoli sprouts you are already growing. 2 jars, 2 plants, 2 autophagy pathways. Total cost is a bag of grain. Now let me show you how all 10 come together. You do not need a farm. You do not need raised beds. You do not even need a backyard. You need 1 large container, a few satellite pots, and 2 mason jars. Take a half whiskey barrel or a 25-gallon fabric pot. Set a dwarf pomegranate in the center as the tallest element. Around the base, tuck turmeric rhizomes where they get warmth and filtered light. Place a Camellia sinensis tea plant in its own pot in a shaded corner with acidic soil. Train Japanese knotweed up a small trellis in a fully sealed container isolated from any open ground. Give Astragalus its own deep pot because the taproot grows straight down. Set a dwarf olive tree in a large container where it gets full sun. Hang a strawberry basket from the edge of your patio or balcony railing. On your kitchen counter, keep 3 mason jars in rotation, 1 sprouting broccoli seeds, 1 sprouting wheat berries, 1 resting and ready to restart. That indoor station requires no outdoor space at all. In your pantry, a bag of dried hibiscus calices sits ready for tea whenever you want it. 10 plants, 5 aging forces, every single one of them covered. Zombie cells are targeted by strawberry Fisetin and turmeric curcumin. Shrinking telomeres are protected by green tea, EGCG, and rebuilt by Astragalus cycloastragenol. The broken recycling system is reactivated by broccoli sprout sulforaphane and wheat germ spermidine through 2 independent pathways. Dying mitochondria are renewed by pomegranate urolithin A and shielded by olive leaf oleuropein. Sugar damage is intercepted by hibiscus anthocyanins, while Japanese knotweed resveratrol delivers systemic antioxidant defense across every front. Now picture what a monthly supply of those 10 compounds would cost in supplement form. Fisetin runs $40 to $60. TA65 costs well over $100. Urolithin A adds another $50 to $70. Stack resveratrol, sulforaphane, curcumin, EGCG, oleuropein, spermidine, and hibiscus extract on top of all that. You are looking at $300 to $500 every single month for the rest of your life. Growing these whole foods at home is cost-effective compared to buying bottled extracts. Incorporating nutrient-rich plants like strawberries, broccoli sprouts, and wheat berries into your regular diet gives your body whole food compounds without the premium price tag of synthetic supplements. The reason you are hearing this from a video and not from the company selling you those compounds is that there is no profit margin in a plant that grows itself for free. 2 Nobel Prizes identified the mechanisms. Thousands of studies confirmed the compounds. 10 plants deliver them all. And 1 bucket holds everything. These plants do not care about your zip code or your income. They ask for soil, water, and sunlight. The answers were always right here, growing in plain sight, waiting for someone to finally look down. And don't forget, if you want to grow what the healthiest people on the planet are growing and start living like them, the Centenarian's Garden has got you covered. Go show them some love.